Okay, here we are with some more details about the aquaponics update. First of all, I've added my dedicated electric outlet line. Runs straight from the electric box through that gray line right there, and there we have 4 outlets. So I have outside power now. Then we have this little yard extension thingy that runs from the outlet out into the yard. Then, since it's not long enough, I have another extension cord that plugs up to the pump. But I have power now without having to run in the house. An extension cord, so that's good. This is the main fish tank. I tried to clean out all that pollen, but I didn't get it cleaned out enough to be able to see through it. But I have 11 goldfish that are still alive. That means 9 have died. I only remember pulling out about 7 fish dead, but I must have pulled out the rest. Okay. The other addition is this other grow bed. It's in this bathtub. I set it up on stilts, 2x4s, and cedar logs as supports that put it up high enough that the water can drain back into the second fish tank. As you can see, the water drains in, all those bubbles comes up. That means it's adding oxygen to the water. Now, as you can see, I've added on to the PVC pipe, and I have water flowing in here. I built my own bell siphon for this grow bed. There was a challenge because no store in Montgomery, Alabama has a Uni-Seal. Uni-Seals cost $3.50, but evidently that's too rich for the blood of the Montgomeryans. So, Montgomery Rubber and Gasket, or something like that, gave me a pass-through seal that was actually the same size as the bottom of the tub outlet. So I used that, sealed it off, and it leaked a little bit. So what I did was, and this was my father's suggestion, put a PVC pipe that enclosed the entire drain pipe where the entire leak was. So now the entire leak leaks into the fish tank, so I don't lose water that way. Looks like it's dripping a tiny bit of water around that seal, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so now, problem with the auto siphons. The auto siphons are not working. The problem in this one is that the flow rate is too low. So as you can see, it's going up. That's because the grow bed is full of water. The water is running over the top of the auto siphon, but it's not running fast enough to get high enough to create the low pressure system that creates the suction that drains it out. I know that's the problem because I dipped buckets of water out of here and flooded the grow bed and the auto cycling kicked in, and it drained the grow bed out very quickly and then cut off, and then filled back up slowly to the point where it just runs over the auto cycling again, and the low pressure system doesn't kick in. So I know the problem in this bed is too low of a flow rate. I also know that the auto cycling works in this bed because I also flooded it with buckets of water. The auto cycling kicked in, it drained the bathtub very quickly, the grow bed, drained out this pipe very quickly, and then it cut off completely, except for the tiny trickle of the leak. So I know that's the problem with those two. So all I got to do is increase the flow rate in those two beds. Because as you can see now, it's draining out the top of the auto cycling. The bathtub is full, it's overflowing the auto cycling, and it's coming out there at the same rate that it's draining in here through these pipes. Now on this one, I think the problem is that the flow rate is too high, because it was also having the same problem, and I flooded it with buckets of water. The auto cycling kicked in, drained the grow bed, and then cut off. It filled back up, and it drained by itself again, but this time it's not filling back up. The water is so high that I can't really see if it's draining out or not, but I suspect that it is, and that the flow rate is too high for it to drain all the water out and break the seal for the auto section to cut off. So the solution then will be to plug up some of these holes. The solution for here will be to unplug some of these holes. I think I'm going to plug up some of these holes, because even though that's going to add oxygen to my water, I'm going to need some more pressure further on down the line. So I think that I'm going to have to plug up 1 or 2 or 3 of them. Then I'll still have some water running in. I think this will be okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to test it. I'm going to unplug it. And now that was interesting, because after I unplugged it, see, the water is, I wonder if this is running downhill. I wonder if I should push this down a little bit. Hang on just a second. I think we're running uphill with this PVC pipe. Now we need to run downhill the whole way. That's going to increase the flow rate. Okay, now we're definitely running downhill there. Looks like we have a slight uphill jog right here. That runs downhill. Einstein. I'll get the level. Also have another addition is this aquarium. It's a 20-gallon aquarium. When I have the tilapia, I'm going to have it full of water. And the ones, the tilapia I'm going to eat, a day or two before I eat them, I'm going to take out and put in that fish tank so they can purge. Not feed them. So they can purge. Yeah, get it. Dog's getting a bee. Get it. Okay. Let's see here. What we got here? Yep, see, bubble says it's not level. There. We got a slight uphill jog right here. What we got right here? Now that's going downhill. That's the way we want it. What do we got right here? That's going uphill. That's not what we want. See, we're going uphill. This needs to start coming down. If I bring this down, I put that on so that it wouldn't slip. Come on, come on. What if I pull that up? You know what? What if I do this? Push this up a little bit. More than one way to get it down to a slope. Now what you doing? Okay. Now I think this is all running uphill. Yeah, it's running uphill. This is running level now. Level is better than uphill. I need to bring this down just slightly. There. Now. Alright, that's level. At least it's not running uphill. Yeah. And this is level. Alright, I think that's going to help us a bit because it's not pumping uphill as it goes through the long pipe. And as it gets down to there, it goes even more downhill. Let's make sure. This is going to be hard to test. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah. I think that's what we want. Okay, now, here is the way we're going to test it. If it's possible. First, I'm going to take a bucket full of water. Alright, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can see this is low enough that I can tell the auto siphon is not running on here. Now if I turn this back on and this bed starts filling up, it means that the problem is the flow rate into this bed is too high, because this bed drained down all the way and would not fill back up. And the only reason that can happen is because the water's coming in too fast and not allowing the auto siphon to cut off. So we'll see. See, it's not on now. The auto siphon is not on. But this one resumed immediately with water running out, which means it was full. And when I cut it off, it drains to the point below the top of the auto siphon and then stops. In this one, you're going to see the same thing. See? It's running too. It started running immediately after I turned it on. So that means that it was full. And it's running over the top. So that means in here and in here, the flow rate is too low. In here, the flow rate is too high. So, okay, yeah, so I got to plug up some of these holes, unplug some of those holes, put more holes in there. I hope that's all I have to do. I hope that is all that I have to do. The problem is knowing how many holes to plug up, how many holes to unplug, how many new holes to drill. But theoretically, if the flow rate is too high in one bed and too low in two beds, then overall it's too low and needs to be increased. And so if I plug up a couple of those holes there that are draining back into the water tank, hopefully that will give me enough force overall. Anyway, as you can see now, the water in this grow bed is now filling back up. That means that without water flowing in, it allowed the auto siphon to stop working, the auto siphon suction to turn off, and now it's allowing it to fill back up. The way we'll know for sure is if it fills up all the way and drains again, and then runs again continuously. But I'm not going to make you watch that. So hope you enjoyed. The next update will be when the fish come, and that'll be about a month.